Yeah, so you can
let's
do this.
Just go for it.
Inspiration is just a story away.
I'm so happy to be here today with Jacqueline Aludo. She is the founder of Real Beauty, Real Women. And I have a really good bond with her because of the work we do for the homeless. And I've been fascinated since day one talking to her about her NIMBY project. So Jacqueline, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. We really got to know each other pretty well when I came out to New York for the NIMBY project video. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, the NIMBY project was inspired by my documentary, Not in My Backyard. And we got the inspiration because I spent 10 years filming in underground shelters for battered women and homeless children to really raise awareness on the plight of abuse and homelessness in America. And from there I realized that it was these shelters, good shelters and
Yes.
safe havens, that were really healing the abused and educating people.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that we need to save shelters like that and make them sustainable so that people can go and heal and get educated. And then when they leave, they can become contributing members of society and just have a second chance in life.
That's awesome. I do a lot of work for the Homeless Children's Education Fund, and I've loved being able to go into the shelters. I bring my daughter Alyssa with me to the shelter, and last time we passed out the Whoopee blankets from lovemywhoopee.com, and what they do with the blankets is every blanket that's purchased, they give one either to an American child in a shelter, or they give it to a child abroad in Africa who is orphaned due to AIDS.
Well, women of Guinea and women in general are going through many things. In
Yes.
Guinea, women do not have any voices. So Guinea is a country where, number one, men are allowed to have more than one wife.
Okay.
So basically, once they marry you, they get the second one, they forget about you, they leave you with the kids. And you have to think about the violence against women. Women get abused in Guinea every single day. It's almost part of our culture now for these kind of things to happen.
So it's like they're used to just the abuse, and that's just a part of their cycle. It's just a part of who they are as women then.
Yes.
What do we do? I mean, how can we help in a situation like that when they're almost like their brains are programmed like that at that point?
Right. So with the violence, it's a societal issue. It's a part of the culture. And so in order to help them, you have to, one, change the culture, but also change the laws of the country. So it's both a societal and a legal problem together. And so it comes through helping them by giving them education, teaching them that it's not okay because this is what they've seen their whole life. So it's more about teaching, raising awareness, and really showing that it is not okay to treat women in that manner.
Yes.
So.
And I also think in changing that, we must involve men because they're the one who's committing this.
Yes.
And somehow I think there is something back there, there's something wrong. So maybe if we can involve them, we can really find a solution.
I think that's so true.
Right.
I think that's so true. I mean, I got my little guy Jake. He's cute.
I love your son. He's amazing. And just interviewing you, meeting you, really is amazing. It's extraordinary. I think you are a great woman. You doing wonderful work. Giving voices, sharing our stories. I think that's fantastic. We need, we can do all the work, but we need people who can tell our story, and I think you're doing that. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Well, I mean, I'm a professor and an author, and mommy with little Jake and Alyssa, but for me, I love to tell a story, and I love to inspire people. So having this gift of having a talk show now is so wonderful because I know so many amazing women like yourself and some men, and it's just fantastic to be able to put this out there into the world and see what happens. So back in the day when you were kidnapped, it was through the Yahoo chat rooms, and now we've got Facebook, which makes it even more open to making connections, and there's all sorts of social media. I don't want to just point fingers at any one type,
Right.
but yeah, the world is so open. I mean, And like you said, the Thailand thing, you can have friends in Africa or China now, but those dangers are so real, and they don't seem as real. Can you talk to me about, I know that he gained your trust, and I want to talk about how you've gotten back that trust, but before that, I need to know what happened. I mean, when you walked out that door, what happened after that?
And I can tell you it was dark, it was cold, and I'm somebody who is, at least I was then, still am a little bit, but scared of the dark, hates the cold with a passion, and never went outside alone after dark. Yet there I was, coldest, darkest, iciest night of the year, walking up my street. And I had a moment of clarity. Alicia, this is really stupid. What are you doing? And that moment came too late. Next thing I knew, my name was called and I was in a car, and this man was squeezing my hand so tightly that I thought it was broken. And he was barking commands at me, be good, be quiet, the trunk's cleaned out for you. He drove me to his home in Virginia and took me down into his basement dungeon and held me captive there for 4 days, where I was raped and beaten and tortured. And when I say tortured, I mean he had a wall of torture instruments. When I speak to children and I tell them a little bit of what happened, they liken it to Saw or Hostile. That's where their mind immediately jumps. So that'll give you kind of light into how twisted this man really was. He kept me chained to the floor with a locking dog collar and treated me like an animal. He didn't feed me until the 4th day, and he broke my nose.
But you're moving forward with your life. I mean, I personally have seen you just blossom recently. Take us back to the congressional hearing where you helped with the law.
Well, what I testified before Congress for was the Protect Our Children Act. And what that does is funds the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Forces.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they're only able to investigate cases like mine at 2%. Cases of child pornography, cases of internet luring at 2%. Mm. And it's horrible to think that law enforcement goes into work every day and they sit down and they watch these heinous videos where, I mean, infants, babies on changing tables, children in cages, I mean, really sadistic stuff that you can't process.
Can't fathom.
They go in and they watch this stuff and they have to say, oh, we'll save that one. Meanwhile, there's tons more. Every child deserves a chance to be rescued. Every child deserves a chance like I had. Yeah. So what that does is it offers a dedicated, steady stream of funding so that it can create the boots on the ground, the training, the resources to go out and rescue these children.